Freedom Business Network. This is a program whereby we discuss business and matters business, and we are here to help you grow your business. We are live on air every Thursday morning at such a time as this. I would like to encourage you to stay tuned, tag a friend, let him come and listen to what we have to discuss today. Today we have a very exciting topic on investing in real estate. And with me is a panel, and on my immediate right is Bishop Robert Njiro. I would like to welcome Bishop to greet us and just to introduce himself.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Robert Njiro, Bishop. I come from Prevailing Word Church, and I'm a businessman with Roam Properties Limited. Thank you.
Welcome, Bishop. With Bishop is their wife, Leah. Leah, you can introduce yourself.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Leah Wambo Njiro. I'm privileged to be here to talk about investments in real estate. I hope we'll have a good time.
What do you do, Leah?
I work together with my husband in property management. That's our core business in real estate.
How long have you been in that business?
We have been in that business for around 15 years.
That's a long, long time.
Yes, yes.
So how is the general business like?
It's okay with a few challenges here and there, especially these times of hard economic times. But we are still moving on.
Oh, that's good.
By God's grace.
It's encouraging to hear that even in hard times, there are some people who are moving on. And I think what is most important is to make sure that even in hard times, your head is above the water, as we said. That means you keep on doing the right things. And when there's a change in the business environment, you'll be the one surviving and pick up from there.
Yeah.
And on my middle left is Enoch. Enoch, welcome, the man from Uganda.
Yes.
How are you?
Thank you so much. Bishop, I'm so glad to be here on this panel. My name is Enoch Chitonde Chija. I am from Uganda and I'm a member of OFC, House of Faith. I'm excited about the topic that we have to discuss today, investing in real estate. I work as a chief trainer of Digital Adverts Limited, and it is one of the plans that we usually talk about. Some of the advice we give people, the young people after making money, some of the lines to invest in is real estate, shares, and things like that. So I'm excited today to learn about how not to be washed, because there are very many scammers in that industry, real estate. So I'm really expectant tonight. I want to know how to invest, what to look out for, and things like that. Really excited.
You mentioned of scammers.
Yes.
Is Uganda the same as Kenya in terms of scammers?
I think it is Uganda and Kenya, they feed from the same mother.
Who is this mother? Is it East Africa or who is the mother?
Scamming, I think it is something that is everywhere. Yeah.
Yes,
so what's in
international.
Uganda. So I need to know the part of Kenya. How do they scam you guys so that I can maybe understand how to know. And then because we realize so many people right now are looking at Kenya as a country to invest in. When you look at your infrastructure, it's on another level. So everyone would want to invest in Kenya, you know, buy property in Kenya, buy land in Kenya, because it is lucrative. So it is something that is serious.
That's good.
Yes.
I think Kenya is becoming lucrative because one of the things we've done, we've built a lot of roads.
Yes, yes.
And the road networks has opened a lot of vast lands. For
Absolutely.
example, Thika Road opened a lot of the northern side.
Sure.
The bypasses also. Places which were just empty, all of a sudden now everybody is investing and building in that. So one of the things I would tell you, Uganda is build more roads.
Sure.
Yeah. So I would go to the expert, Bishop Njiro.
Yeah.
You've been in this business, real estate, for 15 good years. Can you briefly just tell us what inspired you to get into real estate?
Well, what inspired me to get into real estate? Let me say my background was not in real estate. The first, my background is medical.
Yeah.
Medical.
Just like me.
Yeah, you also a medical?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That was my background. And from medical, I went to the church, preaching, Bible school, and all these things. But I realized that inside of me there is a businessman, and somebody inspired me into real estate. One of my church members, while we were just talking after the service, he was working in a property management company. And he told me, Bishop, I think this is a nice business for you. And then in the family, we had a few properties here and there. And so we say that we are going to be managing those properties. And from there, we got into this. And another thing that inspired me, when we came into real estate, is we had been scammed ourselves in the pyramids. And I was looking, I had tested money a little bit. And I was thinking, what can I do? What can I do for me to support myself in the ministry? And so when he talked about real estate and he talked about property management, it came in handy. It came in well for me. So I just got into it, and God opened opportunities. He opened that field for us. We saw a gap. Normally in business, if you want to do well, you got to seek for a gap. You got to seek for a gap. So one of the things that really made us go inside it, into that gap, is because many people in this field, they are not trustworthy. And when we tested ourselves, we found that we can be trustworthy. And so we decided to get into it to create honesty, accountability, and effectiveness into this business. And that's what we do.
So tell us more about this gap that you saw, because I, from a marketing background, we say that you are in business only when there's a problem. And when you're solving a particular problem. For us, we understand it in terms of a need or a problem. You talked of a gap. Can you explain about a gap? Because I know there's somebody here who is wondering, what gap is this and how do I spot this gap?
Now, business is about demand and supply. Demand and supply. And I'm sure in marketing you use a lot in that. And this gap I'm talking about is, you see that there is need in a certain field. And then you yourself, what can you do? What can you do? How can you fill that gap? To help people and also to make business for yourself, for yourself. Sometimes when we do business, we don't begin it as for yourself. We begin it as you want to help people, you want to help that person, you want to help that person. Like for us, we are in property management. We saw so many old people who are being scammed, so many old people who are being cheated by the agents and other property managers, because some of these people are sick. They have arthritis, they have sicknesses, they are not able to go. Now, somebody has built a house of five floors. He is not able to go there. I had one client, one of my first clients, who could not climb up. And so all those houses on top there, according to him, they were vacant. They were vacant because he will not be able to go and see. He was being cheated that the houses are vacant. But when he engaged us, we went there and we found that these houses were full. But all this time, he was receiving a report that these houses are vacant. So the gap is to help the people and also to make money, because business is also about making money.
So you're basically then identifying a purpose for your business, that is to help people.
To help people.
It's far much stronger than just having an aspirational vision, whereby you want to become something or you want to make some money, whatever it is. But you have the right purpose of helping people, meeting the needs of the people. Then you're able to create a thriving business. Leah, how has been the journey been, and what are the areas that somebody can invest in real estate?
Okay, we started far because we did an office of just a room where we worked, 3 of us or 4 of us, and it was not easy, especially at the beginning, because people despise you and they think that I think when you start something new, there are many forces that fight it. So some forces were, even the tenants themselves, they would like discredit you and wonder what kind of an agents you are. The landlords, we had a few who trusted us from the beginning because of the relationship we had with them. So they gave us their properties. So we had mainly the challenge of starting small and also having many people despise what we were doing. But we fought that despise and continued to climb the ladder, moved even to a bigger office until now where we are. So that has been the challenge of like going against the tide and climbing upwards and swimming against the waters. But for now we can say we are better off. People respect us. People have recognized that what we are doing is credible, both the landlords and the tenants. When they come to the office, they see the magnitude of the office and the setup and everything, and then they respect you. But it has been that kind of a journey.
Yeah, it's a lesson that we shouldn't despise the days of small beginnings, and we shouldn't let people despise us. In the Bible here, people like Sanballat and Tobias, who belittled everything Nehemiah did. So people might laugh at you, might try to persuade you otherwise, but with God, I know that if you keep focused and you persevere, you'll make it. Now, what are the areas that you can invest in? Let's say somebody has got his couple of millions in this first area. Where is the opportunities in?
Now, let me take you back, Bishop, and say real estate is actually land and all what is established on it. Land and what is built on it. Real estate is something real that is put on the land. It is not something movable, like a car or like something that you place there and then you can take it away. When we talk about real estate, we talk about land and all that is established in it. It's not that like we now, our opportunity that we saw is to deal with the built environment. In investing in real estate now, having said that, we say that there are, when you talk about land, there are like 5 types of land uses.
Okay.
5 types of land uses.
5.
Yes. We have the residential, we have the commercial. Residential is whereby you put up an establishment for dwelling places. When you talk about commercial, is for you put an establishment for business premises. When you talk about then number 3, we have the industrial. Industrial is whereby you put the warehouses, all those industrial purposes, for industrial purposes. Then you have the agricultural, that is for farming purposes. And then you have the special uses. So special uses is for churches and mosques and things like cemeteries, towns, and anything, any other special use that you can establish in it. Now, you can invest in any one of those areas. Any one of those areas is a good place to invest it. Let me say that there are various ways you can invest your money, like in money markets and other ways. Real estate is one of the best ways. It's one of the best ways, because in real estate you can be assured that you will get your returns. It may not come in quickly, depending on how you are, what you are putting in it, and the kind of investment that you are doing. But you can the various ways When you get land, you can establish rentals in that land. When you get land, you can lease it out for gains. When you get land, you can put commercial buildings. When you get land, you can also flip it. You can also flip it, meaning that you buy it and then you put something within a short time, or you buy a property within a short time, you sell it. You renovate it and sell it. That's called flipping. You can also you can also buy properties. You can also buy a property, a built property, and then you renovate and then you sell it, or you rent it out. So once you get land, depending on the use, what you want to use it for, you can invest in all those areas. You can invest in all those areas.
This is quite interesting. I didn't know that we have 5 areas in which you can invest in as far as land is concerned.
Yeah.
Is it the same in Uganda?
I believe so. It's quite the same, because at least it gives us a segmentation and an understanding that even if someone does not have this big amount of money, maybe to buy an established property, you know, they can maybe begin with something affordable. Maybe that, for example, land, I understand in Kenya it's not as expensive as buying land that is already developed, maybe one that has a building or a property that you have to develop. So I am understanding it is a way of someone can enter into the market of real estate. Yes.
Yeah, another way is, of course, you acquire land for speculative purposes, whereby you buy land, you allow it to stay there and for the market or for the prices to go up, and then you sell it you sell it at a later date. You make money. So there are some people who do that. Or you buy it and subdivide. You buy a big piece of land and then you subdivide it into small pieces. Because with the land, the smaller it is, the bigger the value. The smaller it is, the higher the value. When you buy a big chunk of land, the value of that land is not as big as when it is subdivided. So if you can buy a big chunk of land, that land, you buy it for less money, because the bigger it is, the less the value. And then when you subdivide it into small plots, the value goes up. The value goes up. So you make some money. These are buying and selling. These companies that are
like
there.
retailing now.
Yes. That is retailing.
Yes.
So you buy wholesome and then you subdivide, you retail.
You retail.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, let's stick with land to start with, because again, this is a big area that we can discuss in terms of real estate investment. Let's start with land. And I'd like to ask you, Leah, how do you start acquiring land in Kenya, and how do you ensure that you take the right steps to ensure that you are not conned?
With the current trend of being conned, I think it's getting worse by the day. People need to be more keen on how they go about land buying, and also avoid being in a hurry. Because there are people who just hear that land is being sold somewhere and they rush, pay money, and sometimes you find that you've done the wrong thing, or you bought land that is not genuine. So right now my advice would be due diligence, but more than even before, whereby you are on the ground to know exactly how this land has been acquired, where it came from, because land has never moved. Because as he's calling it real, it's been there from generations, many generations. So it is very possible to know this land has been used for what and who is the owner many years back. I am thinking about the Kerema Shamba, and I'm saying, like, if these people also went further to ask for a mother title, because for these people who come to con you, they use, most of them, share certificates. because if it's a title, you can search. But because we have also had cases of searched titles that are also not genuine, because of the titles ambazo we hear people make. It's also good now to go to the history, whereby you want to know that this land was for who, at what time.
Yeah.
So that even when you're asking for the mother title now, you have an idea that this land has moved from this person to this person to this person. But I think Kenyans, because we are really eager to have our own land, to put up our own house, it becomes very fast for us to be conned, because we are not willing to look for more information. So the history of the land is very important, because that land has not moved from where it is. It has been owned by other people in the past. So it's good to ask yourself, who was the owner? Where did this, who was the owner before now these people who are selling to me came in the picture? And in the community, you cannot lack information, because they are older people that you can ask in every area.
That's a very good point in terms of getting to know the history of the land. And I think the history of the land, the first thing you do is to go and do an official search in the lands office. And in the same in the lands office, you can still be able to get the history of the land, that is using the green card. So there's actually two different searches. And I think the third area you've talked about is looking at the history from the people who are neighboring that land. That means you go and knock the doors of the neighbors of that land and ask them, have you heard of any issues in this particular land? Who is the owner of this land? And all that helps you to corroborate the information that you have. Now, let's go back to the area of share certificate, because you say that this is an area whereby people get easily conned. Do you think it's because that share certificate offers you an opportunity to pay ile what we call malipo ya pole pole, which we Kenyans like very much, as opposed to buying something which is titled? Because I think if it's titled, you have 90 days to pay. But if somebody tells you you can actually get this piece of land and you can pay it within 1 year, then you do not have any grounds of might be asking for a title. How do you look at it?
To add to what she said before I come to your question, one of the problems with land sale is that we learned this one in school, in the university, is that land transactions are done in secret.
Okay.
Land transactions are done in secret everywhere, and I don't know why. And here is only the government that can help us, because there is a lot of secrecy. If I'm buying land from you, I don't want people to know that I'm buying land. I think people should stop this hurry of acquiring land, so that you can do due diligence. You can do due diligence. Things to do with the share certificate. Share certificate is simply because when somebody acquires this land, this big land, he has what you call the mother title. And many times the people who are buying the land, they want to pay to finish paying, because the mother, the main owner of that land, maybe has not paid that land, all of it.
Okay.
He has been given those 90 days to buy, or a year, or whatever. He wants to raise money from somebody asked the other time, how do I get into real estate without money? This is how they get into real estate without money. That you talk to the owner, and then you are allowed to pay slowly. So you go to, and you are allowed to subdivide that land. When you subdivide it, and then you sell it to the people, you want to do quick sale. Quick sale. Actually, share certificate does not do slowly. It wants to do quick sale. Share certificate is a document of ownership that you are given. It's recognized. It's recognized. because it should be from a company that is registered. Because it's with a share certificate that you can claim ownership of that land. It's only that people are not truthful. It worked very well. Our mother has done that business for many, many years with the share certificate. For many years, for more than 30 years, giving people share certificates. Another problem with the share certificate, another problem that comes is that the complexities that are there in acquiring the titles. Because if the government could make it easier for the subdivision to go through and all the fees to be paid, and then the titles are out, these people would be selling with those titles. But now they stay for a long time for you to get a breakthrough in the land's office. You see, that lad cannot stay there waiting until when you get the subtitles so that you can sell. So people do the share certificates. The share certificates are even recognized now that with the share certificate, your building can be approved.
Okay.
Yeah, the county government now approve with the share certificate.
Okay.
As long as that company is registered. But you got to do your due diligence. Yes.
That's good. Thank you very much.
I think the other way of the share certificates is also finding out the credibility of that company
That is issuing the
that
certificate.
is issuing the certificate. We say that many times when you are referred or you consult, it becomes easier. If you don't do it like a private thing, you are trying to hide, you don't want somebody to know you are buying land somewhere. Because you know there are people who feel like it's like they are trying to surprise others by buying land in secret. And then one day they will tell them, I have this land. So I think those surprises should be over.
Yes.
Whereby now you make sure that even this company that is giving share certificates, you have done a lot of inquiry about them and their credibility. When did they start? Because also the years they have practiced, that matters.
Yes.
Because there are some who come just from the blues and then they start selling, and you don't even find out how long have they sold, how many pieces of land have they sold. So you have to be very careful to also find out what whether they have worked for many years and their credibility.
Okay.
The other thing they do, the upcoming ones, they give you prices that are not market prices.
Okay.
Like Mavoko, I hear they were selling very cheap.
Yeah.
You could compare with the real market price and see this is a big difference.
Okay.
So even when it's cheap, sometimes cheap is expensive. You might need to know why is it too cheap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the being too cheap is a red flag. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you allow me, I would like to give our viewers a few tips on investing in real estate.
Yes.
A few tips. But to summarize this, what we are talking about.
Yes.
If you want to, because real estate, it creates wealth. It creates wealth. Me, I'm a believer of wealth creation. And I believe that when we talk about wealth, we are not talking about, money. We are not talking about money that you have in the bank. Wealth is interpreted in terms of physical assets. Physical assets. That's why you hear when people come to positions, when they are appointed, they ask, how much are you worth? How much are you worth?
Yeah.
So they quantify what you have in terms of properties. And real estate, it helps that. And it's good to understand the process and take necessary precautions when you are investing in real estate. Number one thing that you do when you are interested in investing in real estate, it is to understand the market before you make any investment in it. Understand the market.
Okay.
Usisikie tu, don't just hear that people are building, people are doing what, and then especially the people in the diaspora, understand the Kenyan market or the East African market or whatever market in real estate. Understand it. Conduct a research. Know what am I going to gain by investing my money or by investing in this. You got to understand the real estate market, how it goes, because in every place, every business that you want to invest in, even if it is not real estate, even if it is selling eggs, even if it is selling sweets, you got to conduct a research and know how much am I likely to get, what are the risks in this business. So understand it. And in real estate, we normally say that if you want to invest in real estate, location is very, very important. And because that's, you have to consider the population, especially if you are going to do buildings. If you are going to do agriculture, you also need to consider the population, because depending on the magnitude of the business or of the farming that you want to do. If you go to a congested area, you will not get farms. If you go to a place whereby Kajiado, those sides, Namanga, whereby people are scarce, you are likely to get very big chunks of land. So think also about the economic status of that area where you want to invest. Think about infrastructure, think about emerging towns and developments in a certain area. Peri-urbanization is very, very, very important, because especially in real estate, you think about peri-urbanization. These towns that are emerging, these towns that are coming up, they are very ripe for real estate, the market. And the counties also have done a very good job. If people should not look just to Nairobi, look at the counties. There is a lot of people who are going back to the counties. And those people, they need houses, they need facilities. Those are places also that you can go and study. So you got to understand the market and how the market is moving in our country. Number two is think about what are your investment objectives. What kind of a business, what kind of an investment do you want to do in real estate? As I said, real estate is about land and what you are doing with it. So I say that there are 5 land uses. So which one are you pulled into? Which one are you interested with? Because that one defines your investment goals. It defines your investment goals. So do you want to do rental houses so that you can have rental income? Do you want to flip property? You buy, you renovate, you sell quickly. Those are quick sales. And or you want to do speculation. It's it for speculative purposes. And it's very, very important to know your investment goals, the risks that are involved, and what you can do. The other thing is, number 3, how are you going to finance your investment? There are some people who have dreams, but they don't have money in the pocket. So what are your plans? You can talk to your finance advisors to tell you, because every good business, it begins with a dream. It begins with a dream. Have a dream. You can have a dream and live with a dream without money, because dream does not depend on how much money you have. When you have money already, you start planning. But when you don't have money, don't kill the dream. So think about how now, after you have your objective, how do you want to finance? How are you going to finance? So you got to create a budget, depending on your research. Depending on your research. And here you got to be very careful. You got to know that if you're in Nairobi and you want to invest in Nairobi in real estate, and especially in rentals, let's talk about the the residential. You know, Nairobi, the rents are not the same.
Yeah.
The rents are not the same. If you invest, if you are going to invest in Eastlands, you know that the plot, you buy the plot a little bit cheaper, but the rents are low. If you go to Mathare, the rents are low. If you go to Mweki, the rents are low. So you got to know where you want to invest according to your strength. But you also need to know that building is the same. The cost is the same of building.
Still remains the same.
Yes.
I want to ask you about that because location is very, very important.
Yes.
Let's take a case whereby somebody has got, let's say, 1 million shillings. And he wants to put up a house. To start with, would you encourage this person to, let's say, get out of Nairobi and put up a house? Or would you encourage him to rent a house? And number two, which area would you encourage him in if at all you want him to encourage him to build a house?
You know, 1 million shillings now is solely true for investment. Even if you go to Gishagi, I don't know what you can do with 1 million shillings
Okay.
in real estate. Maybe you can put some apart structures. You know, in real estate, what you put into the amount of money that you invest will determine what you get. And there's also a vision. If you have 1 million shillings, maybe you can put the Mapati structures in a place. You can buy, I don't know whether you can buy land for 300 and then you put the Mapati structure.
Tell us.
I think you really will do very little. You really will do very little. So that's why sometimes you can pull the resources together with some good friends. I've seen some people do that.
Okay.
And then they put up some properties. But if you go to the reserve, there are some places you can do some work with that. But you see, you get very little returns. You get very little returns. But it's okay. It's okay because that's a beginning. So I will not tell you where. That's why I said research yourself and see what can you do with 1 million shillings. What can you do? Where can you go?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've found people like in my, you know, it depends with where you live. I have found people like where I come from, people are landlords. Like my farm, I have employed a young man at home who takes care of my mother and the cow and the water, whatever. He told me that he has some lentils at home and he is getting some little money. Yeah, even if he gets 1,000, 2,000, it is good money for him.
Good money for him.
He's in real estate. Yeah.
What do you make out of all this, Enoch?
Well, thank you so much. I love the discussion, and I love the way you flipped the chart, and that gave me some courage that even with 1 million, someone can start to invest. Because that is something that it's a challenge, you know. Someone would want to enter into the market of real estate, and they think, oh my God, I need maybe 5 million, 10 million, and before you know it, someone has wasted the entire money, you know, all that they have worked for. So I believe when you give us a chance to come into that industry with whatever amount we have, that is encouraging. For example, for the young people today, people are working so hard and they don't want their money to sit somewhere, because that is where scammers come in, because you have money and then this other quick deal comes in. You find yourself investing into it and then splashing all the money. So I love the fact that there are plans. In fact, if there is any plan, you'll be clear on us, where someone can invest with 1M or any amount, maybe less than 1M, if that is possible. Because right now, real estate is something, like Mama told us, something that is real, something that is tangible. Land has been here and it will be here forever. So it is some industry that we really need to concentrate onto so much. And then you talked about due diligence. I believe due diligence, like Mama has emphasized here, it is something that we need to pay attention, because we are trying to preclude the scammers, people who come in to, you know, spoil the industry, things like that. I think we have lawyers. Are there lawyers?
Yes.
I think lawyers can help in this line. I believe there are also, they call them surveyors.
surveyors,
to identify where the land is.
To identify where the land is, because I believe there are also people who can stage chiefs, they can stage people, locals. You come there, because they know someone is going to invest big, they stage locals here. So you ask the wrong people. So due diligence, I believe that is when you don't mind spending extra to involve lawyers and maybe surveyors, just to give value for what you are buying. You're investing in over 5 million. You cannot just, Papa told us here, people transact in the dark. I don't believe in that. You don't have to transact like a poor man. In Uganda, you call that being a poor man, transacting in the dark. It has to be in the open. Real estate is something serious, and I love the submissions today. Yes.
Would you rather go for an apartment, or would you want to, let's say, buy some land somewhere?
Yes.
Still with this 1 million, hypothetical 1 million, and I'm coming from an angle of a young person.
Yes.
Bishop here might have a few millions, more than one, but a young person might even struggle to get the 1 million.
Yes.
And I have a situation whereby, let's say you go to a place like Mavoko or Mwalimu Farm or Juja Farm, just to name a few, or Kajiado, and maybe get a piece of land, let's say 50 by 100 at about $500,000 or 600,000 or 800,000, or slightly less than $1 million. And might be wait for a number of years and then start building your own house. That being one option.
Yes.
The other option is you buying an apartment in the city.
Yes.
As a young person, what is the inclination?
Well, as a young
and
person,
why?
As a young person, it depends, because when you talk about buying an apartment in the city, I think it comes with a price. It comes with a price. But of course, the young people who are really successful, they have made it in life. I would go for buying an apartment because I know that I would do away with the burden of, having to construct all over again, to build all over again, because that is time, those are very many charges. So if it was there and you could give me the prices, as a young man, I would go in for the apartment. But I'm looking at the other side, whereby I can't afford an apartment, but I have maybe less than $1 million, and I'm hot, because we do training. We tell people, do not have money at hand, you have to invest it in things that are really genuine or lucrative, and real estate is sounding high. So for me, I would look at that option of buying land, let it appreciate as I get more money, maybe, and then maybe construct when I've added on or maybe when I get partners to help me even appreciate it more.
There are other things that young people can do who have no much money.
Yes.
You can sublet. And that one is happening.
I think
whereby
guide us sublet,
yes.
So technical.
Subletting.
Yes. Whereby, like you see the stores, which are doing very well. Like in this building, a friend of mine, a client of mine, rented a shop in front here, and did a reception, and then it got subdivided into small offices, and brought in clients. With your median can do that. You can look for a big room, and then in a strategic place, and then you can sublet, you can subdivide into small stores. We have done that. We have been managing such kind of things in Nairobi and elsewhere, whereby subrogates that shop or that space, and then you sublet and do some stores or some offices. That's one thing that one can do, and it gives you a lot of money, and you can really work on that. Now there is something that I wanted to say. In the due diligence, there are property real estate attorneys, lawyers that can help you in the due diligence. People who are specialized in that area. You can look for one when you are buying a property. Because my point number 4 was to identify a property and do a search. We have talked so much about that. When you are doing that, it is at this level when you are identifying a property, that you can involve a real estate agent, a real estate person. Some of them are brokers, but also they are professionals in that area. A real estate person will also help you to know what kind of development you can put in this area to get the returns. There are some people, because of not consulting, they don't do the market survey. So what happens is that comes and builds a white elephant project or puts up a building that will give you very little money. So a real estate expert will help you to know what kind of a thing can you do here, what kind of stores can you do here, what kind and how much are you going to get. Like me, for my clients, I like being involved even when they are designing their new houses, because I want to talk about the space. You know, Stucky, I don't want just an architect to come and do very small unlettable spaces. I want something that will go and we make money. There is something a little that you touched on. I don't know if this point has gone. I'll bring it.
You remember it and then we'll come back to you. Let me go to Leah.
I think I also have an advice for the young people.
Yes.
On how they can invest in their small money. Real estate is also in the developing aspect of, let's say, buildings. There are many people who are specializing in taking contracts of interior designing, of some work of when people are building, whereby you just decide you'll now become a painter, you train in that area of painting, you start getting people who can paint, and you pick a contract for painting. You can pick a contract for putting in interiors like wardrobes, doing kitchens, all these things, or renovations, because you don't need a lot of money for that, because you'll still use the customer's money when you're doing that, the renovations. So if you are daring, you go where people are building, you just start thinking of what your interest can be, and then you start working towards being involved in building.
Yes.
Because the building aspect, you can do something.
You can do a lot.
Yeah, we have people who put curtain rods, and they are experts on that.
Absolutely.
They just come, they tell you, I'll fix your curtain rods, and they know where to source, and maybe they will make a cut out of it, and then they come and fix for you the curtain rods. So young people who are aggressive, because you need to be aggressive, you can try those areas.
You can also be a broker buying stones and sand and
That's a lot.
supplying.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
lot.
also a
You can do it.
lot of
Material
work.
supply.
Yeah.
I think you have really broadened my understanding. It's a very lucrative industry.
Yeah.
Because if someone does not have $1 million, you've talked about maybe getting to paint, but also today people are, when you come to Kenya, internet is everywhere. Someone can be installing, these routers. That is another service you can offer. Yes, and you've talked about curtain rails. The other day I wanted someone to fix curtain rails, and guess what, I consult from the landlord. If the landlord did not have his person in place, then I would be now searching for someone to help with that. But now if I had that person in mind who does that, that is an income opportunity. So I think that is a good one.
Coming back to Leah, young people are debating, do I rent? Do I buy an apartment? Do I buy some land and build in the future? What is your thought about that?
I think it all depends on the resources available and the mindset of the young people today.
Okay.
Because most of them don't want to go through hassles of building.
Yeah, that's right.
And also the money may not be there for that big project of buying land, building a flat or something like that. So I would think, depending on the amount available, you can go for even buying a house in a house, or that's a flat, whereby you if you have a company that is not harakisharing you, you can even buy, and you can see the credibility. You can even buy when it is being built, because it becomes even cheaper, and you can pay for as long as the building is continuing. From a credible company, because I think many companies that have been building have been scammers. We have a place near Tatu City, near where we live, and we can see a lot of flats coming up, and already they are being bought. And such a place whereby you can see already people have occupied and it's something happening, you can be more sure. So I think it's a matter of where that young person is at in terms of finances.
Yes.
Because I think they also don't want the stress of putting up a big building and having to put a lot of energy to get it done, because building really requires a lot of energy. There is and also it's also good at a certain time, if you will have to build, just build, because there is also another age when you grow older that you don't want the stress of building. You like want to say this is the end of building, because it really has a lot of energy being taken. As he was talking, I was remembering of some flats in Darugu, on the left side as you go to Thika. There are some flats that were built there quite a long time ago, and they have never been occupied. So I keep thinking, if this man had consulted, maybe he would have built go-downs, and the people would have gone there to put factories, manufacturers, because it is somewhere like Unaingia, it's in a isolated place. So I think tenants were not, he couldn't get tenants. So I think consultation is very important.
And that's a concept now I had forgotten. That's the one I wanted to talk about. That we have been debating this, that you know, putting up a flat like this one, it might take you 100 million or 80 million. You don't have that money. Or a young person doesn't. Very few people have that money or can access that kind of finance. So you are forced to put up, because there are ways of building. You can build kidogo, and then you bring in clients, although you got to be allowed by the city council or the county that is with you. But this concept of buying flats is a very nice one. Because if you buy one flat at like 10 million, if you buy a flat at 10 million, in some places like now what we are talking, like Tatu City there, at Ruiru, everywhere, you can buy it at 10 million, and you can let it at 70,000. Let's say 70 or 60,000. And you know, it will be easier for you to raise 10 million. You can access that finance. And then you pay, you finish. Or you get another mortgage or something. You put it, you rent. If you can get 10 of those flats in various places.
These are basically houses, not...
These are houses.
Yeah, houses.
These are houses. And you're good. You can make 600,000 within 10 years. If you can buy one flat after every 3 years, another flat after every 3 years, within 10 years you'll have 3. You'll have 3 of them.
3 of them, yeah.
So if you don't have money to put up that big flat, those flats, you can do one by one. You can buy one by one. They are well paid. They pay well, and you know they are ready. They are ready.
There's no hassle of
There's no hassle of building. And the young people are liking that more than just the hassle of building. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they belong to you, and you can even stay.
You can
in
stay,
one
you can
of
stay in
them.
one of them, really.
So you already have a house.
Although a block of flats is normally a better investment in real estate, Because when you have just that standalone, what people here call standalone, no? We call them townhouses. When you get one, and then the tenant shifts, it takes like even 6 months for you to get another tenant. Yes. So you'll have loss of revenue. But when you have a flat of like 20 houses or 30 houses, they can't shift in one day, all of them, unless there is a problem. Maybe the turnover will be 2 or 1. You'll be making money. You'll never run out of money. If you had a loan and you have only one flat or one standalone, and then that tenant shifts, you'll not be able to pay the loan because you have loss of revenue for about 6 months. It takes like 6 months to get a client, depending on the market. Yes.
Now I can see our time is much gone. But before we wind up, can you tell me about the trend that I see of people putting up containers for business use, whereby people put containers, they subdivide? Is it an easier way to invest? Would you do it that way, or would you rather just build a brick and mortar building?
Yeah, it's the same concept you are talking about here. What can you do with 1 million? Because when you are the container business does not need you to own the land. You lease out the land. So you just buy a container for 40 by 20, 40 by 10. You buy at 500,000. So with your 1 million, you can buy a container, put it in a place that you have leased, and then you subdivide and you start getting money. Also, it's easier. And also security-wise, containers, they are known to be very secure. That's why people are going for that. So it's because of quick fix, and also because of the security, and also because you can lease land. And because when you in a leased land, you are not allowed to put you may not be allowed to put a permanent building there. And if you put a semi-permanent building, security issues. So people are going for containers. They are easy. They are easy to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is good. Just a last question to Leah. You find people who did their buildings, apartments some many years ago, let's say 10 years ago, so they didn't build spacious houses, they didn't put en suite and all that. Today, you find the trend has changed. Find almost every other new building coming up is all en suite, is larger, it's bigger. And what is now happening is there's a trend whereby people are now moving from the old houses to the new houses. How is the market like? How is that trend going, and how is it affecting investors in the real estate property market?
Okay, with the old models of buildings and the sizes that you chose, there is not much you can do. It's only that there is a client you will continue to attract who don't want to pay the match in the suits and all that are coming. But you can do a few renovations that will improve and upgrade those houses. You can do some facelift, the painting, the tiling. If it was red oxide, you can put tiles. You can even do a bit of redesigning of the interior. Maybe break up some walls depending on what kind of a house it is. Because there are some walls that are not weight bearing inside the house. So if you do like you demolish some walls which can be demolished, and then try to modernize. Whatever you can't do, but what you can do, together with the advice of your architect and maybe the person who is doing the interiors for you, you can see the way you can lift it to a newer way, but the space may not really be bigger than it is. So it means that you have to really also invest on money, because if you do that, you have to pay a cost for it. So that now it translates to long-term income when you put more money on the rent.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
As we come to the close of this discussion this morning, I would like to ask Enoch and the panelists to just give us a parting shot. What do you have to tell somebody who wants to invest in real estate?
Thank you so much. It's a blessing today to learn in depth about real estate in Kenya. It's an exciting venture. I'm very excited that today we get to know that even the young people have a place in this real estate industry. It doesn't matter how much you have, as long as you are excited, you are ready, the opportunities are here. I want to just emphasize this. I think real estate is a deal. In Uganda, in 1972, one of our presidents had to fire Asians. You know, these are people who are already established. They had land, they had property and things like that. He gave them 90 days. Please leave. 90 days, can you imagine? And to carry a few, kilograms with them. But guess what? 50 years later, these people come back, and because they have the right documentation, they were able to reclaim the land, ownership. So real estate is something serious, something tangible that I believe when you get the right people, for example, Bishop here and Mama here, they have the information that you need to really invest in real estate. It is a good thing to go for. And I've learned a lot.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a place you can put your money in.
Absolutely.
And you're sure that the returns will always be there.
Absolutely.
Alea?
I think real estate is a good idea. We had tried many other businesses and they had a big drawback. But as we became patient with real estate, as I said in the beginning, we are where we are. We thank God that we tried, and somebody should be encouraged to try out.
Yeah, be encouraged. Yeah. Yes.
Land will always be there. That's what I'll tell you. And there is still a lot of land. And don't say that land is finished. You can still invest. And there are also a lot of transactions. Those ones who got these buildings before, they are still selling them, and they are still buying others. So it's an area that will never reach the end. So you can still invest in real estate, wherever you are, wherever you go. Yeah.
Mine is to the young people, especially those people who are trying to raise their first investment. I want to encourage you that there's a lot of opportunity in this country. You don't have to reside in the heart of the city for you to make it. You can actually go slightly further out of the city. Nairobi is becoming big now. We're now not talking of Nairobi, we're talking about the metropolitan, which stretches all the way to Thika, Kabati, all the way to Kajiado, and Machakos, Remuru. And in that bigger area in Nairobi, there's a lot of land opportunities whereby you can be able even to get a small portion of land, might be an eighth of an acre, at slightly less than even 500,000 shillings or thereabout. Don't think it is too far. Very soon that place will be the center of everything. And if you have your small amount of money, go there, buy that land, keep it for 5-10 years. In 10 years, you'll be very, very surprised at the capital appreciation and the fact that very soon that area will also be very, very occupied. In the same way, there's a lot of opportunities as we've had in the counties. Today, now you don't have to reside in Nairobi. You can go to the counties, your county, there are for 7 of them, and there's a lot of opportunities and cheap land that you can buy. Remember, it's not about coming to the city center to buy something or the city to buy something. You can actually go to your county and look for opportunities and buy land. Land will always appreciate, as somebody said, and that's a very, very good investment. So with that, I want to thank you very much for staying tuned. Thank you for listening to us. May God bless you very much. We are here every Thursday, same time, same station. God bless you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.